Dedicated, determined, late-breaking. This is CSB News with anchors Abby Adams and Bessie Marin. Entertainment with BMC and sports with the Big A. Dependable news you can use. CSB News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to CSB News. I'm Abby Adams. Thousands of people crowd Atlanta streets in peaceful protests. This comes in response to police-involved shootings in Minnesota and Louisiana and the killing of 5 police officers in Dallas. Tonight we will take a look at the in-depth plague of gun violence sweeping the nation this week. Incidents of gun violence involving civilians and police are sparking passionate reactions surrounding use of deadly force by police officers. We'll hear from a local gun shop owner. But we begin here in Atlanta, where streets are calm now, but less than 24 hours ago, the streets of Atlanta were filled with protesters reacting to the recent officer-involved shootings in Dallas, Minneapolis, and Baton Rouge. The crowd of thousands gathered Friday evening at the Atlanta Civil Rights Museum, marched to Centennial Olympic Park, and ended up at the William Street Bridge. The gathering in Atlanta remained peaceful despite a near standoff between Georgia State Patrol officers and the large group of protesters as they were prevented from moving on to the downtown connector. Even Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed made an appearance identifying with the group's intentions and making an appeal to the crowd to keep the protests peaceful. The week of violence began in Baton Rouge, where 37-year-old Alton Sterling was killed by officers responding to a 911. Multiple witness accounts and cell phone videos show Sterling pinned to the ground by 2 officers before he was shot in the chest. In Minneapolis, a man was shot 4 times by officers during a traffic stop. The incident was streamed live on Facebook by the man's fiancée. The next day, what began as a peaceful protest turned deadly as 5 police officers were killed by a sniper in Dallas. Micah Johnson told negotiators he was angered by the recent shootings and wanted to kill white people, especially white officers. Only hours later, Georgia saw 2 more officer attacks, one in Roswell and another in Valdosta. There is still much to learn from each of these incidents. Authorities say gun violence is on the rise, citizens are becoming increasingly concerned for their safety, and police officers find themselves in more danger than ever. WCSB reporter Marion Rinaldi talked to one officer and gives us his reaction.
In the wake of this week's violence and the shooting of 5 Dallas police officers, CSB News speaks with Officer Rich Long of the Gwinnett County Police Department. When asked how local authorities were prepared to handle potentially hostile interactions with suspects,
attacks in Dallas are very difficult to plan for. Reactions of the police depend on the actions of the suspect and how far the suspect is willing to go, and the multiple numbers of suspects increases the bigger reaction on the part of the police department.
Officer Long shares a very personal reaction to the shooting of his brothers in the field.
It's very disheartening and it's saddening to see fellow officers die in the line of duty.
As for how Gwinnett County prepares for large-scale protests, the officer explains.
Within the Gwinnett County Police Department, we have our mobile field force, which is a riot control specially trained force. They have been placed on standby and on alert should they be needed. With so many citizens on high alert, we ask Officer Long what advice he would offer to the public. I would tell them to try to remain calm and don't let your fears be fed by everything you see on social media and on television. Take your time with information and let additional information come. A thin, black band stretches across the shining gold of Officer Long's badge. Its meaning? A solemn reminder of the sacrifices made in defense of others. Marion Rinaldi, CSB Evening News.
The White House made an announcement Friday evening that President Barack Obama would cut his European trip short by 1 day to visit Dallas early next week regarding the shootings of the police officers. President Obama called the attacks vicious, calculated, and despicable attack on law enforcement.
So I believe that I speak for every single American when I say that we are horrified over these events and that we stand united with the people and the police department in Dallas.
The president says he is aware of racial imbalance taking place between the deaths and protests of America's police force and civilians. President Obama lastly says anyone involved in these murders will be held fully accountable. Justice will be done. He ordered flags lowered to half-staff at the White House. Both presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton and presumptive Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump took to Twitter to state their regards and condolences of the police fatalities and canceled political rallies the day after the police shooting. The recent gun violence has sparked renewed debate over the access to guns. WCSB reporter Christy Lett talked to a local gun dealer to get his perspective.
Look at that, just shooting back and forth.
Following the shooting of more than 100 people inside a nightclub in Orlando, many Americans are shopping for guns. One local gun shop owner says there's been an increase in sales.
Right now, what's selling the most are handguns. In the past rushes, it's been AKs and AR-15s.
Unlike the shooter in Orlando, most law-abiding citizens are looking for 9mm guns or shotguns for home protection. Here, J.G. Hornsby shows us the AR-15, the same gun used in the shooting.
It's the civilian version of the M16. The military uses an M16. This is a semi-automatic rifle.
Hornsby says the sales of AR-15s are way down. When asked if guns contribute to violence, Hornsby says,
I don't believe they're contributing at all. I think one of the biggest problems we have are so-called gun-free zones. If you notice, virtually every mass shooting we've had has been in a gun-free zone.
Jim Hornsby says new gun buyers should learn how to use them, and Main Street does have a shooting range. For the first time, I took a stab at shooting a handgun. The 45mm was extremely powerful, but most households prefer this type of gun. This is Christy Lett with WCSB News 9.
Next up on CSB News tonight, Bessie Marion will bring us the Hispanic news of the day and let us know what's hot in the entertainment world.
That's right. I'll have an update on the drug lord known as El Chapo, and I'll tell you why one of the cutest inmates you've ever seen can make it to his next photo shoot. Next. Sus uñas están tan horribles, trabajo tan duro, y rutina todo el tiempo trabajando duro para ver.
I know she's talking about me. I wonder what she's saying. Oh, I can use my Jabberlate.
The Jabberlate app translates 25 different languages for you instantly. With a simple tap of the app, you can understand any conversation right through your Bluetooth-enabled device.
It's so hard to make her look beautiful, and she never gives me a tip. I want to quit.
Here's your tip, don't talk about your customers.
Jabberlate, available on Google Play and the App Store.
Y ahora vamos con noticias internacionales y inmigración. Queda suspendido el proceso de extradición de Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán, luego que los abogados del narcotraficante presentaron 2 solicitudes de amparo. Esta debe ser analizada por el juez antes de continuar con el desarrollo del caso. Su extradición fue aprobada recientemente con la condición que el capo de Sinaloa no sería condenado a muerte. Y en noticias de inmigración, fotos reveladoras muestran malas condiciones en las que viven inmigrantes en centros de detención. Como se podrán imaginar, exigen cambios inmediatos. La Agencia de Aduana y Protección Fronteriza quiso impedir la publicación de las fotos, pero un juez de la aduana, quien escucha la demanda, fue quien ordenó la publicación de las fotografías que fueron tomadas por abogados. El gobierno dijo que no podía hacer comentarios sobre una demanda pendiente. La demanda se enfocó en centros de detención de Tucson, Arizona, pero la Unión de Libertades Civiles planea extenderla en todo el país. Happy birthday. Y nos despedimos con un video que muestra al presidente Barack Obama cantándole feliz cumpleaños a su hija Malia. Turning to the entertainment news, tonight, one man has a promising future as a fashion model once he gets out of jail, and we have romance news for a few celebrities. Hot-looking convict Jerry Mix is out of jail and is fast becoming fashion's most talked about felon. His latest photo, posted on social media, ranked in over 37,000 likes and included this humorous caption: "End of my driveway is as far as I can go. Hashtag house arrest." Kylie Jenner and Tyga are officially back together. They were spotted Bentley shopping. As you can see, they're not hiding their affection, with kisses, hugs, and even matching outfits. How cute. Meanwhile, Kourtney Kardashian's looking better than ever after being separated from Scott. The beautiful man posted a picture where she appears to be happy living life. I'm Bessie Marion with your CSB Entertainment Report. Next on WCSB News, Abby Adams returns with a sports update and a new warning about health concerns at the Rio Olympics.
And grab your lightsabers because there is a new summer attraction at Stone Mountain that has Star Wars fans buzzing. All this and more on CSB News. Stay tuned.
Girl, I had the worst date last night. Like, it was just so bad.
Well, I know why. I'm gonna be honest. I think it was your hair. It's lacking a little luster and shine that it needs.
Well, what do you use?
Stemmer Shine. It works so well. I mean, it's results that you can see. It's a noticeable difference.
I don't know. I just don't have time. I mean, I'm busy. I work all the time. I had to drop the cats off to daycare.
I don't have time either. But with this, it's 2 in 1. So you get 2 things done at once.
Okay, well, I'll think about it. Let's just go grab some lunch.
You're right.
Come on.
Shimmer shine, cause we ain't got time.
From the makers of Chrome Dome.
The Atlanta Braves are in a 3-game series against the Chicago White Sox this weekend at U.S. Celery Field in Chicago. The first game kicked off Friday night, starting the series off with the Braves up for 1-for-1. With Atlanta down in the top of the 4th, Nick Markakis hits a solo home run, tying it up back with the White Sox 4-4. The Atlanta Braves then go all the way to bring in a win, ending on the scoreboard 11-8. In addition to the Zika virus, there is a new bacteria lurking in Brazilian waters. Just weeks before the Olympic Games are set to begin, a group of scientists have discovered a drug-resistant superbacteria in some of the country's busiest beaches. The highest concentration of the bacteria was found at Rio's Guanabara Bay, the site of the Olympic sailing events. This superbacteria has been found to cause urinary, gastrointestinal, pulmonary, and blood infections, along with meningitis. The CDC reports that it has caused death in up to half of the patients infected. A long-time Atlanta summer tradition has new exciting features that bring generations of Star Wars fans together. Drone Wars: The Mountain Awakens is the new segment. It features this classic Star Wars music, laser, and firework displays that are described as jaw-dropping, and 3 fire cannons that spray flames almost 100 feet up in the air. The laser show runs nightly through August 6th and is free with park admission. That's our newscast for now. Thanks for joining us for the WCSB News Team. I'm Abby Adams.
And I'm Bessie Marin. Please stay with us for a complete wrap-up of the day's news, weather and sports tonight on WCSB News Night tonight at 11. Until then, have a good evening.